What's up, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I'm back with another Xanathar's Guide to Everything Unearthed Arcana subclass comparison video. This time we're talking about the Horizon Walker Ranger. This is sort of a weird ranger based on portals and that kind of portal-based magic. I believe this was one of the original prestige classes in the Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 edition Dungeon Master's Guide, because I remember an image of like this dude with like long blonde hair walking on the walls. But that's neither here nor there. I think this is a pretty strong subclass, but let's dive into it. So, as I mentioned previously with in the last video, all of these rangers get free spells. So this actually got a fairly significant boost in the Xanathar's Guide. So we had Protection from Evil and Good, Alter Self, Protection from Energy, Banishment, and Teleportation Circle. That changed to Protection from Evil and Good, Misty Step, then Haste, then Banishment, then Teleportation Circle. So we lost Alter Self and Protection from Energy for Misty Step and Haste. Talk about huge benefits. Like, those other two spells are okay, but bonus action Teleportation and Haste? Like, are you kidding me? This is phenomenal. So that was a huge benefit to the Horizon Walker, so I'm a big fan of that. Then we had Planar Warrior, which was as a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet. Until the end of this turn, your attacks against that creature ignore its damage resistances, and the next time you hit it on its turn, it takes an additional 1d6 force damage. So this was a bonus action thing you could do every single turn previously. Let's see what it is now. So, Planar Warrior, that's bonus action, choose a creature within 30 feet. The next time you hit a creature on this turn with a weapon attack, all damage dealt to that creature becomes force damage, and the creature takes an extra 1d8 force damage from the attack. When you reach 11th level in this class, the extra damage increases to 2d8. So, let's talk about that for a second. As I just discussed in the previous video, the fact that martial classes get better at 11, this is handled here, I think, very well. So, rather than last time it's saying the attack that you do ignores all of its resistances, it now, all damage dealt by the attack becomes force damage, which is more or less, I'm gonna say, the same thing. Because almost nothing, if not nothing, I could be wrong, but I think almost nothing any monster that exists in core 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, or any of the modules, or Volo's Guide to Monsters has resistance to force damage. It's almost never resisted, so it's very powerful. Before it said it ignored its resistances, which meant that a non-magical arrow would do damage. Now, rather than that, just all effects of the arrow become force damage. So, that is basically doing that. And again, the creature takes an extra d8 force damage from the attack. So if you want to think about it in one way, this is sort of Hunter's Mark, but better and doesn't use a spell slot, if you want to think about it. Now, don't get me wrong, Hunter's Mark is, it lasts, now let's see, before, so just once, until the end of this turn, your attacks deal an extra d6 force damage. Now, the next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack, all damage dealt by the attack becomes force damage. So the way I'm reading that is it's the next time you hit a creature. So previously, it basically almost negated the need for Hunter's Mark, because it was once a turn, as a bonus action, you do a d6 extra damage for that turn, meaning that every attack that you managed to pull off would do a d6. This is sort of a single attack Hunter's Mark, but better, if you will. So this is a bonus action. It does not require a spell slot, and it does a d8 force damage and makes the attack force damage. So that is a Hunter's Mark's d6. This does a d8. It's concentration Hunter's Mark, but it hits on every attack. But this also increases the damage to 2d8 at 11, and yes, Hunter's Mark does give you bonuses to tracking stuff, so if that's what you're using it for, that makes sense. But the even better benefit of all of that is you can do both. You can bonus action Hunter's Mark on one turn, so that's on and doing extra d6 damage, And then on a subsequent turn, you can use your Planar Warrior ability to do... So let's assume you're a ranger and you're using a longbow in this scenario. So first turn, Hunter's Mark. Second turn, Planar Warrior. And then every subsequent turn, your attack's doing a D8 from your longbow, a D6 from your Hunter's Mark, and a D or 2d8 damage on at least one shot when using Planar Warrior. So that means one attack per turn at level 11 or higher could be 3d8 plus a d6, and then all of that damage becomes force damage because of this ability. So you have that on, and then you still have another attack, and if you had haste up, you'd have a third attack. So you got a lot of options. I really enjoy that. We also had a portal detection ability previously, which was Portal Lore. As an action, you detect the distance and direction to any planar portals within 1,000 feet. You also sense which plane of existence each portal leads to. However, if magic obscures any of the details of the portal, this doesn't reveal them. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can use this feature again if you expend a spell slot of 2nd level or higher. It gives you some links to the DM's guide. Now, it is Detect Portal. It is an action. You detect the distance and direction to the closest planar portal within 1 mile of you. And this is short or long rest. So it is within a mile rather than 1,000 feet, but you don't have the option to spend a spell slot to get it back. It also doesn't really give you the info about revealing what plane it goes to. Then you had Ethereal Step at level 7. As a bonus action on your turn, you can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature, but the spell ends at the end of the current turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Now, I think it's pretty much the same as a bonus action. Was it a bonus action here? Bonus action, cast Etherealness with this feature without expending a spell slot. Right? Yep. Spell. Yeah. Without expending a spell slot, but the spell ends at the end of the current turn. Once per short or long rest. So let's go ahead and pull up Etherealness here. Got my player's handbook right in front of me. So Etherealness, I will remind you that Etherealness is a 7th level spell. Now it does last for up to 8 hours, so that's part of it. But you are a 7th level character. A full caster will only have 4th level spells at this point. You, as a ranger, will never get 7th level spells. You'll only ever get 5th at level 17. And you can, as a bonus action, as opposed to an action, which is what it normally is, at 7th level, cast a very reduced version of a 7th level spell as a bonus action when it's normally an action and it doesn't use a spell slot, which is crazy. And I do like it, and it's once per short or long rest, so this ability recharges potentially relatively often. So what does Etherealness do? Basically, you go to the ethereal plane. If you move up or down, every foot of movement costs an extra foot, so it's basically difficult terrain. If you go up or down, you can see and hear the plane you originated from, but everything looks gray, and you can't see anything more than 60 feet away. While on the ethereal plane, you can only affect things on the ethereal plane. You ignore all objects and effects that aren't on the ethereal plane, allowing you to move through objects you perceive on the plane you originated from. Basically, you appear in an unoccupied space when you come back. So basically, this will let you enter the ethereal plane, and you can walk through creatures, you can walk through walls and objects. You only have until the end of the current turn, though, so that potentially gives you probably at most somewhere between 25 to 35 feet of movement, assuming you don't have any other movement-based abilities. Again, you have haste, but it does not say that it is not. Here's the thing. It doesn't say that it's not concentration, but I kind of assume that it's not, since it only lasts till the end. Now, Etherealness normally is a concentration up to 8 hours. This just ends at the end of the current turn, so I would say in my head it's not concentration, because it only happens on your turn. Although, and then if you cast it, you technically can't normally get hit with opportunity attacks to knock the concentration away. So it doesn't specifically state that it isn't, but it doesn't state that it does. Maybe this has been cleared up in a Sage Advice article or a tweet from Jeremy Crawford. But if that's the case, you could theoretically cast Haste as an action, then as a bonus action, enter the ethereal plane and then move with crazy speed with your double movement from haste, and then your hasted action to allow you to use the dash action to move even further. So, what do we got here? We have Distance Strike at level 11. When you use an attack, you can teleport up to 10 feet before each attack. You must be able to see the destination of the teleportation. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with the action, you will make 1 additional attack against a third creature. I think this is basically the same. When you take the attack action, you can teleport up to 10 feet before each attack to an unoccupied space you can see. If you attack 2 different creatures, you can make an additional third attack against another creature. Because this happens before you take the attack, this can potentially move you out of disadvantage. You know, if you're shooting in melee, it gives you disadvantage unless you have the crossbow expert feat. But this would potentially allow you to get around that by just teleporting 10 feet away, shooting somebody, teleporting 10 feet away again. So not only is the teleportation free movement as part of your action, you can do this each time. When you take the attack action, you can teleport up to 10 feet before each attack. So essentially, right there, this is a free 20 feet of teleportation movement when you make the attack action. And as you know, this part of it could be against the same creature. But you also got to realize you can teleport up 10 feet. You can like if you need to go up on a ledge and then teleport 10 feet again, you know, depending on how the situation is. But if you attack 2 creatures, you can make 1 additional attack against a third creature. Based on the attack before, I would feel like that third attack would also give you the 10-foot teleportation. So you potentially have a 30-foot movement of teleportation that is free, that is not part of your actual movement using your movement speed or a bonus action. So that gives you 30 feet of movement, and then you could still, so you could like shoot, teleport away, shoot, teleport away, shoot, teleport away to move yourself 30 feet back, and then use your full movement to keep moving and get essentially probably 60 feet away from your enemies, but 30 feet of that movement was free. And you'd still have a bonus action if you needed it. Lastly, we have Spectral Defense. As a reaction, when you take damage, you can have that damage against you. For a moment, you slip into the planar boundary to lessen the harm. And here, I think it's basically the same. When you take damage from an attack, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to all the attack's damage on the turn. As a reaction, when you take damage, you can have the damage against you. So they changed it. It used to say you could have the damage against you, meaning that it would stack with other things. Now it says when you take damage from an attack, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to all of that attack's damage on this turn. So that is something a little bit different. But again, this is coming at level 15, but more or less this is Uncanny Dodge. But it's when you're hit from an attack, so it doesn't have to be a weapon. It could be a spell attack, and there are some higher level spell attacks now with Xanathars. So again, like I said, I'm not like blown out of the water by any of these rangers that like makes me desperately want to play one. But these are great options for you as a ranger, both the one we just talked about before, the Gloomstalker, and now the Horizon Walker. I mean, the spells alone are a great reason to check these out. But again, a significantly lesser version of a 7th level spell at level 7, third attacks, extra attacks that deal damage, Uncanny Dodge, really good abilities. I'm a big fan of this as well in that respect. You know, I think it's they did a good job with these rangers, making them seem more powerful. But as I stated before, it feels like it makes the 2 existing ranger classes, the Hunter and the Beastmaster, seem underpowered. But that's not a way to fix it. You know, let's not make the new classes better and kind of leave the old classes out high and dry. We got to go back and fix both. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, but that's because it's my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for the final Ranger subclass, which is the Monster Slayer, which was originally the Monster Hunter and a Fighter subclass. So we'll be going through the Monster Slayer and then also referencing back to the Fighter document to look at that as well. So anyway, guys, I'll see you next time.